Have you ever felt torn between staying in your comfort zone or chasing your dreams? It's a crossroads many of us encounter. Choose safety or take a leap into the unknown. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho explores this universal struggle through the story of Santiago, a shepherd who dares to follow his heart. Leaving behind the familiarity of his daily life, he embarks on a journey filled with trials, discoveries, and profound lessons about purpose and destiny. Published in 1988, The Alchemist has become a global sensation, selling over 150 million copies and translated into more than 88 languages. It even holds the Guinness World Record for the most translated book by a living author. Though I'd heard about this book for years, I only recently decided to read it. Truthfully, it's been ages since I last picked up a novel. Probably not since my teenage years. I used to think novels were purely for entertainment, but this book proved me completely wrong. If you decide to read this book, keep this in mind. It's written as a parable. Whether aimed at children or your own inner child, it speaks to the part of you that once saw the world as full of wonder and possibility before cynicism and burnout took over. Here is a warning. If you're unwilling to revisit your forgotten dreams or accept that it's never too late to pursue a meaningful life, this book may offend you. For some, it might even highlight regrets and leave them bitter. However, if you want to escape mediocrity and achieve a more fulfilling existence, this book could be the spark you need. In this video, I'll summarize the story and share my take on the main lesson. At the beginning of The Alchemist, we meet Santiago, a young shepherd living in Andalusia, Spain. He has chosen this life because it offers the freedom to travel, satisfying his curiosity and thirst for adventure. Santiago's deep connection to the rolling fields and quiet life of Andalusia reflects his appreciation for simplicity, but his soul yearns for something more meaningful. This longing manifests in recurring dreams of treasure buried near the Egyptian pyramids. Santiago has these dreams while sleeping in the ruins of an old church beneath a sycamore tree. While tending to his sheep, he notices their contentment with mere food and water, devoid of any aspirations. This observation sparks Santiago's realization that he wants to live beyond basic survival and pushes him to pursue a life rich in purpose and discovery. Santiago encounters Melchizedek, the king of Salem, who introduces him to the concept of a personal legend, a unique purpose that fulfills one's soul. Melchizedek encourages him to follow his dreams and says, when you want something with all your heart, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it. He advises Santiago to pay attention to omens, signs from the universe that guide those brave enough to chase their dreams. Inspired, Santiago sells his flock to fund his journey to Egypt in search of the treasure. In Tangier, the first city Santiago arrives at, he is robbed by a thief on his first day. Broken and disheartened, Santiago believes it was a foolish idea to pursue his dream. He contemplates giving up and returning home, but without any money, he has no way to do so. Desperate, he takes a job with a crystal merchant. Through his observation and innovative ideas, Santiago helps grow the merchant's business by introducing new concepts, like selling tea in crystal glasses. After nearly a year of hard work, Santiago earns more than enough money to return to Spain and buy a flock of sheep, resuming his old life as a shepherd, a life he finds familiar and comfortable. Not only that, he can now do business with the Arabs because he has learned to speak their language. However, as he gathers his belongings, he remembers Melchizedek and the conversation they had. Moments before, He was certain that he would be going back to the fields and taking care of his flock again. But now he's suddenly no longer happy with that decision. He thought to himself, I can always go back to being a shepherd, but maybe I will never have another chance to get to the pyramids in Egypt. This realization reignites his determination, and he decides to continue his journey across the Sahara Desert. Santiago joins a caravan heading to the Al-Fayoum oasis. Along the way, he befriends an Englishman deeply engrossed in studying alchemy, the ancient practice of transforming base metals into gold. The Englishman seeks the Alchemist, a legendary figure living at the oasis who possesses profound wisdom about alchemy. As Santiago listens, he becomes intrigued by the spiritual parallels of alchemy and begins learning from his surroundings, interpreting the desert's omens. At Al-Fayoum, Santiago meets Fatima, a woman of the desert whose beauty and strength captivate him. The two quickly fall in love, and Santiago considers abandoning his journey to stay with her. However, Fatima encourages him to pursue his dreams, promising to wait for him. She believes true love does not hinder a person's purpose, but supports it. Santiago also meets the Alchemist at the oasis, a wise and enigmatic figure. The Alchemist recognizes Santiago's potential and agrees to guide him to the pyramids. Along the way, he teaches Santiago to listen to his heart and understand the universal language of the world. These lessons help Santiago grow spiritually and gain confidence in his quest. The Alchemist also teaches Santiago the deeper philosophies of alchemy, which are about much more than turning metals into gold. The process of alchemy serves as a metaphor for self-purification and achieving one's personal legend. Just as base metals are refined into gold, individuals refine themselves by overcoming challenges, gaining wisdom, and realizing their true potential. Those who are only interested in gold will never find the secret. They forget that lead, copper, and iron have their own personal legends to fulfill. When they fulfill their purpose, they transform to become valuable as gold. Unexpectedly, their journey is disrupted when Santiago and the Alchemist are captured by desert warriors. On the brink of death, the Alchemist boldly claims that Santiago can perform a miraculous feat, transform himself into the wind, and asks for 3 days to prove it. Though terrified and unsure, Santiago embraces the challenge, guided by the Alchemist's assurance that the power lies within him if he can connect with the soul of the world, the spiritual force uniting all things. Over the next 3 days, Santiago observes the elements and meditates deeply, recognizing the universal language that binds the wind, the sun, and the desert. On the final day, Santiago speaks to the elements, asking for their aid. The wind stirs into a powerful gust, and the sun lends its energy as Santiago demonstrates his understanding of their shared origin. Harnessing this unity, Santiago creates a massive sandstorm and transforms into the wind, astonishing the captors. This act secures their release and marks a transformative moment for Santiago, proving the immense power of aligning with the universe. Before reaching the pyramids, Santiago and the Alchemist arrive at a Coptic monastery deep in the desert. Here, the Alchemist finally demonstrates his ability to transform lead into gold. He divides the resulting gold into 4 parts, giving one to the monk for safekeeping, one to Santiago, and keeping one for himself. The final portion is left with the monk in case Santiago needs it in the future. The Alchemist then bids Santiago farewell, saying he must complete the final leg of his journey alone. When Santiago reaches the pyramids, he feels overwhelming joy and gratitude. Falling to his knees, he begins digging at the spot revealed in his dream. However, a group of refugees discovers him and demands to know what he is doing. Santiago explains his dream of treasure at the pyramids. The refugees mock him and beat him, stealing everything he has, including the gold he received at the monastery. As they leave, one of the refugees ridicules Santiago further, saying, "You're a fool to believe in dreams. I once had a recurrent dream about treasure buried beneath a sycamore tree in the ruins of an old church in Spain. But I'm not stupid enough to cross an entire desert because of a recurrent dream." Santiago, bruised but wide-eyed, realizes the significance of the man's words. The treasure he had been seeking all along was at the very place where his journey began. The abandoned church in Andalusia, beneath the sycamore tree where he first had the dream. The refugees leave, laughing at what they perceive as Santiago's foolishness, but their taunts provide him with the final clue he needed. Returning to the church in Spain, Santiago started digging beneath the tree. As he digs, he looks to the sky and shouts, "You old sorcerer! You knew the whole story. You even left a bit of gold at the monastery so I could get back to this church." The monk laughed when he saw me come back in tatters. "Couldn't you have saved me from that?" In response, the wind whispers, "No. If I told you, you wouldn't have seen the pyramids. They're beautiful, aren't they?" Santiago smiles, acknowledging the wisdom in the wind's words. Soon after, he uncovers a chest filled with gold, jewels, and other precious items. While the treasure is real, it's really just a bonus. Santiago realizes that the true treasure here was the journey itself, one that gave him wisdom, courage, love, and most importantly, shaped him into the person he is today. Just like the wind said, he wouldn't have gained all those hidden treasures if he didn't take on the adventure. The journey, with all its trials, was necessary for him to grow, learn, and truly understand the meaning of his personal legend. As he rests under the sycamore tree, he feels a deep connection to the soul of the world, knowing his place in the universe has been fulfilled. He resolves to reunite with Fatima, ready to share his newfound wisdom, wealth, and the lessons of his extraordinary quest. In a sense, you could say that Santiago is an alchemist who practiced the process of alchemy on himself, transforming a simple shepherd boy into gold. And that's my summary of The Alchemist. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more inspiring content like this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. Let's keep exploring life-changing ideas together.